Well, welcome everybody. Here we are with another live stream coming to you. It's Kay Call, Tracy Wilcox, and me, Dottie Berry, aka Coach B. And we're missing Blake today. I mean, she's floating around in the river somewhere in Brazil, I think. But anyway, Blake, we miss you. You know, we have got a topic today that I have been talking about actually for several years through groups off Facebook and people because I work with clients. And it's one that Tracy has been hearing about in a lot of the forum groups. And it's sort of like, if you look at what we posted is, have you lost that loving feeling? I mean, we're experiencing hearing women talk about, wow, where's my passion and my joy gone in pickleball? And I've even had, like I said, clients dealing with this. And I want to just throw this out there as sort of a segue into what we're going to be talking about. But in my experience, the number one joy stealer is what I call becoming attached to a specific outcome. So I want to just throw it out there and ask people to ask themselves, what happens when you become so attached to a specific outcome and things don't go your way? It doesn't matter if it's a group that you wanted to be involved with and invited to. It doesn't matter if it's something with your pickleball partner. It really doesn't matter what it is, but Tracy has identified 4 different aspects where this is happening. And my goal for people, you all, at the end of the day of this video is for people to say, my joy in pickleball is rising like the phoenix. I'm not quitting. I'm not going there. So Tracy, lead us off here.
Well, I have a barking dog and someone outside, mowing the lawn. So, but that's the fun part about live stream. Just so you know, I just came off the court with 2 of my better pickleball friends, and we were talking about this. So I just think this is a topic that is hitting home for so many women. And in the conversation, there's a couple of things we talked about, but one that is my biggest one is that comparison kills our joy. And I think we so often come into the pickleball world and we start with some people and we're at the same level as some people. And then people change and they might get a little bit better, or they stop playing, or they want to be more competitive, or you want to be more competitive and they don't. And often we can start going to comparing ourselves to the person next to us, like, oh my gosh, they've gotten so much better than me, and I'm doing the same things that they're doing, and yet they're getting better than me. Or, man, this person just isn't keeping up with me. I can't believe it. Like, there's so much of that. And I think in my journey, particularly, is that I have to just remember that I'm on my own journey, right? And my friends are on their own journey. And sometimes it parallels and then sometimes it doesn't. And we have to just kind of be okay with letting people, one, change their reasons for playing. So maybe they started for the social aspect and then they got into the competitive aspect of it and loved that more. Or maybe they came into it for the competitive aspect and then realized they just liked the social part. Like, I think we can be okay with allowing people to change in that. But, and I think, thinking our roads should look the same and be the same is a huge joy killer for sure.
Oh, Tracy, you nailed it. Because when you talked about I'm on my own journey and they're on their own journey, you have just let go of that specific outcome. And that enables you to step into a sense of joy and celebrate them stepping into a sense of joy. I love that. That was so good. Kay, how about you? Oh, you're muted. We got to get you unmuted.
There we go.
There you go.
I found the button. Mm-hmm. Well, I think what my thoughts are, and Tracy, I agree a lot with what you're saying, is being on different paths is what I call it, and supporting each other on the path. And one thing that helps me is one thing I used to do is I would play and I would get in the car and I would hold up my left and right hand, and my left hand, because I'm left-handed, this would count the games that I won. And then this would count, my right hand would count the games that I lost. And this messed me up because I was doing too much thinking about winning or losing. And then my day would be a good day or a bad day with how many fingers I had up on my left or right hand. I had to let that go. And I had to start saying to myself that it does matter if you win or lose, if that's what your emphasis is. And so I had to change what my emphasis was on the court. And that had to go back to bringing the joy into the game of having fun and asking people if I did feel like they had a good shot and they kept hitting the shot over and over again, instead of trying to compete with that, when we were done playing, saying, will you tell me more about that shot? What are you doing? And like, even before we got on this call, Tracy, you were sharing about the drip shot, which I'm so curious about and I want to learn. And so instead of going and trying to do my own research, I can just come to you and say, help me, teach me, which will make our relationship stronger because we need each other. We're teammates. So bringing the joy back is, I've had to use my mind to get rid of some of my habits that I've been doing and slip into some new ways to find joy.
Oh, that's great, Kay. And I like that you let go of that. Again, that's an example of letting go of a specific outcome, because it used to be wins gets connected to I'm okay, losses means I'm not. I've started personally looking at a long time ago as the losses simply as data points. Think about that for a second. A data point is just something that gives me information so that I can choose something different in the future. And when I can do that, that's really great. What I also love that you said, Kay, is that you're getting curious. You're getting curious with people by saying, hey, would you tell me more about that? And guess what? When we do that, we're lifting others up. We're saying what you have and what you say is valuable. Now, Tracy has already promised me that in 45 minutes, even though I'm not even on the court, she's going to teach me the drip shot before I play in my tournament at Super Seniors Nationals on Thursday. Yahoo! Bridget Nelson on Friday. Here I come. No, seriously. This excites me because I love learning. And so, Tracy, whenever I get my 45 minutes, I'm looking forward to it. So anyway, let's bring in some of those others that were on our list. I think you nailed the first one that is so important. So what else do we have?
Well, I think the next one is probably the one that hits home most, right? Because the first one is about ourselves and us comparing ourselves to our journey. And then I think the other one is people and how there are groups, right? Cliques, whatever you want to call them, that sometimes we feel left out of. Sometimes we start with a certain group and then a certain group moves on, or we move on from a different group and there are feelings attached to that. And I think for me, I felt this way too, because let's go back to the expectations, right? Those expectations lead to disappointments. And I sometimes saw, like go out onto the court and then there's a group playing without me and I can't believe they didn't invite me and I invite them all the time. Like we all have done it. We've all been there. And I will also say we've also been the one to have left somebody else out, right? Like we have this situation going on and we're humans. We have human nature. We have hurt feelings. We have this feeling of being left out. And so when I listened to a Mel Robbins podcast, it kind of changed my world on this. She has the whole philosophy of let them, like you see them, your friends go out to dinner, let them. And the focus changed for me because it ended up stopped being on me. Like it was, I would go see my friends play and be like, oh my gosh, I can't believe. And then I was like, it switched because I was like, oh my gosh, I'm so glad they're all playing together and having a great time. Like the focus became so off me and on them, man, awesome that they're playing together, awesome that they're getting out, awesome that they're laughing. And then when I was invited into the group, it became more of a gratitude about it and less of a, oh, finally they invited me again, And so, and interesting enough, because they felt I was gracious and I enjoyed it and we had fun, I got invited back more.
Ooh.
Or, so it's like sometimes we can get so tangled up into those emotions of, I can't believe they're playing without me. And I think we can switch that mindset. And it's a tricky mindset, right? Because we are so focused on our own feelings that sometimes we get other people's feelings or what they're trying to do. And the other thing is then I had to question, like, oh, how often do I invite them? How often do I set up a game? How often do I interact with them? And it kind of puts it a little bit back on me to then initiate some stuff too. So I think going with the let them philosophy really works.
Oh, that's great, Tracy. And I will say that I've reminded myself that at any one point, there is always somebody better than me, and there's always somebody not quite as good as me, no matter what level I'm at. And I love what you said about inviting people. Now, I'll have to say, I am the notorious, let me invite you to play. That's kind of what I'm known for. Because guess what? If I invite people, I get to play if they say yes. So I have asked till the cows come home. And sometimes the answer is, no, I've got something else. And I understand that. That's okay. I'm going to hear that. But I'm always willing to ask to play in with a group that is, a little bit better than me. And I might even say to somebody if I'm out playing, hey, I'm really trying to move up in my game. Would you give me just 15 minutes at the end of what you're doing? And I'll sit and I'll wait as long as I need to, if you'll just let me play in for 15 minutes. And people feel acknowledged with that. They don't feel like, oh my God, I'm going to be with her for 2 hours. And they just might do it. But I have to be sort of courageous enough, kind of like Tracy's, being courageous before we have confidence. Shaking in my boots, I go ask them. Okay, what about you?
So I feel very fortunate and thankful that I have a partner who I can call upon to drill with at any time of the day. And that has really helped me on the days when I don't have a group to play with and I don't have the energy even maybe to set up a group, but even to go out and drill for 45 minutes to an hour and work on things that I'm working on, I walk away feeling fulfilled. And so that I just gratitude for Vincent is his name, and that we can go off and play every day if we want to. I also, when you mentioned, Tracy, when you mentioned Mel Robbins, I listened to one of her podcasts about her mother-in-law. And her mother-in-law, when she was interviewed, she's in her 80s. And basically, she was telling us on the podcast, be in charge of your own life. Like, don't wait for your kids or your grandkids to invite you. Have a life and be in charge of your own life. And it was so empowering for me to listen to her of that. If I want to play pickleball, I'm going to go out. Maybe I sign up on Playtime Scheduler. I know in Santa Barbara, they have the open courts. You can go and you can jump on and play on any of the courts. And so be in charge of what I want to be doing. And are there times that I feel bad when I walk on the courts and I see 4 people playing and I'm like, hey, why wasn't I invited? Do I do that? Absolutely. I do. But then I try to catch it and say, all right, be in charge of myself and also be thankful for what I do have, a great drilling partner. So those are my thoughts around that issue.
That's great, Kay. Thank you. When I hear us talking about this, I realize that comparison didn't just start when we stepped on the pickleball court, ladies. Pickleball is life, and life is pickleball. So what happens is whatever's happening in life, those saboteurs, the judge, the whatever, they follow us onto that dadgum pickleball court. And so some of these habits, what I'm saying, are lifelong. And we're having to sort of recognize these saboteurs, call them out as not being our friends, and seeing how we can move into a better, what I call the sage warrior woman response on the pickleball court. So, yeah, this is all good. I do want to say, if you're watching this live or if you watch the recording later, put some comments down there and we'll come back and we'll answer your questions. Put what you think is, your number one joy stealer. What's your number one saboteur that's out there? How have things impacted you on the court that you're listening to, like comparing oneself or feeling like you're not included? I don't know anybody that I've talked to, worked with, or anything, even my personal experience. I don't know any of us that hasn't felt those first two. So let's move on to number 3, Tracy. What we got?
My number 3, which kind of ties in, is build your own group. I love what Kay said. It's like we're in charge of our own journey. And I think if a group has past you or has different reasons for playing, or you pass another group and you want to play a little higher, create your own group, like take in charge of that. I know that when I started, I was like dead set on being a 5-0 player, and I was going to do everything. And yet these higher players didn't want to play with me. So I created round robins and I would invite them, and there were money balls, like you could win money. And I would be, probably the worst one on the court, but because I organized it and I invited them, they came and I got to play with them, and then I got better and I lost most of my games, it's like, because I wasn't really attached to the outcome as much as I was attached to getting on the court with them and, having that experience with them. And so, so there's that. I think we can build our own groups that match our play level, match our reasons. I mean, it could go either way, right? I want to play with better players. I'm going to reach out to them. I love that Dottie says that, like, just ask. And if they say no, ask again in a month. And if they still say no, ask again, just keep asking. And I do think we should build into our pickleball plan that we play down. Sometimes we play at our level most of the times, and we play up sometimes, and I think if we had that like 20, 60, 20, where 20% up, 60% at our level, 20% down. And if we could just build that into our pickleball life, I think it would help, because there are players out there that want to get better and they want to play with you because they want to be at your level, but you only get better by playing with better players. And so I think we should always have the hand down, pulling people up, and we should have someone pulling us up from below. It's hard because not everyone's going to subscribe to that, but I think there are enough people out there that are above you or below you that want that. And I think if we as a pickleball community can cultivate that, I think it would do wonders for the community. We all started as beginners at one point. We all had someone who had to play with us when we could barely hit a ball, or didn't know how to keep score or know how to serve. Yeah. So I just feel like it needs to be a sport that gives back. And I know there's some women out there right now who are like, I can't believe it. I fast these people and they won't play with me. I think go back to Dottie's advice. Keep asking, keep searching. Put on a round robin, make it a money ball, invite them to come. I don't know how to do it. Go play in a round robin tournament and go up a level. That's a way that you can get to play with them and take it, and then detach from the results. Like there's different ways that you can do it if you want to. And then there's going to be also those women who are just like, I just want to have fun. I just want to go enjoy. Totally fine. Create that group that wants that, and be okay with the people who don't, who want to be a little bit more competitive, who want to move on and go play tournaments or go play, 3-5, 4-0 level, 4-5 level. I think the other thing about human nature is that we are constantly going to change our whys. Like our why could have been here, and then it switches over here, in a couple months, and different things happen, where we started and we're really competitive, and then life happens and we just want to have fun. Like, I think we can adapt to that too.
Oh, that's great. A couple of things that you said that I really like, Tracy. One is the 60%, and I'm going to put a heart in it, 60% in the middle. And then a little tinier heart is 20% playing up. And another little tiny heart is a 20%, I don't want to say playing down, but playing different. And so when I go there, then maybe I'll have even more courage about trying a new shot or adapting to what I see as something I don't particularly like. But I also like what you said, Tracy, and it makes me realize what I was leaving out. Show me the money. Oh my gosh, I've been doing this and I haven't been adding in the money. I got to get my quarters out when I get home.
Uh-oh. Uh-oh.
We lost Dottie. She's
lost Dottie
somewhere.
That heart took her somewhere else.
That heart took her. I also just want to piggyback on Dottie's thing about, the small heart and playing different and playing, 20% and playing down. We don't need, however you want to think about it. I also don't think we should see it as charity, nor as we're going to go fix their game and we're going to coach them. It's not that. It's just go play and have fun. There's something to be learned at every level that you play. Like, I played down the other day, or played differently, or, I just played with a different level than I usually play with. And there was some things to be learned about. I had to use a different shot. I had to be a little bit bigger. I had to put a little bit more pressure on. I had to encourage my partner in a different way. Like, there's so much to be learned from playing at different levels. And I just think there's a little bit of the whole karma, like you go, interact with a different level, and play differently, your little heart. I think it translates later in your game and to the whole gratitude and the reason that you're playing.
I completely agree with you. When I get too much in my head and worried about things where I shouldn't be really thinking a lot of issues about, but I am, when I turn to service, that always helps me. And last fall, I was playing a lot of pickleball. I was discouraged. The joy was gone. And I got asked to be part of a Special Olympics team. And so they took a pickleball player and they put us with a Special Olympic athlete, and we played in a tournament together. And just that alone brought my joy back. I absolutely loved my partner, and we worked on drills together. And it was just the joy came back with just doing something that I don't ordinarily do. I also feel with Playtime Scheduler, that's another really great way of, you see names of, you don't know the people, and you sign up and you can go out and just meeting new people at new levels. So Playtime Scheduler is a great way to try out not just choose the groups that you know the names, but choose a new group, maybe at a different level, higher or lower. So.
Yeah. The other thing is we've lost Dottie. I don't think she's coming back on. She can't figure it out. She's not at home. She's in Arizona. So the other thing I would say, let me stop my dog. I need to get her to stop. My kids are coming home from school. So there you go. There's another.
The doorbell's ringing.
The doorbell's ringing. Dogs are going crazy. So the other thing that I would say, one of the things that my friend said today is that she feels a lot of pressure when she plays. And I was kind of like, I kind of want to think through that, because I think there's I think we put our own pressure. Pressure is only perceived. Like, pressure is only what we think is pressure, right? I honestly, no, and this is going to sound a little harsh, but I think at the end of the day, no one really cares. Like when I'm playing with my friend and she would say she had a lot of pressure to hit the shot. I don't go home at night and think about all the shots that she missed. I go home and think about the shots that I missed
Yes.
or I made. I didn't think a lot about the shot she missed or she made. And so I think that's just a point in that. And when I say no one cares, I mean no one's in the end is analyzing your game as much as you're analyzing your game. That's kind of what I'm talking about. And I would say that the pressure that we perceive is pressure that we put on ourselves. And we can change that because that's a very much a controllable thing. We can control what we put pressure under, like when you're in a game and you're at game point and you're feeling the pressure, you're only feeling that pressure because you perceive that as pressure. And so we can really rethink that and how we put pressure on ourselves. And it really comes down to our own perception of that. There's no such thing as pressure until we have applied pressure to ourselves and given it value.
It really gets back to the concept of not worrying about what other people think. That it's worrying about what we think about ourselves. And I know I do better if I'm encouraging to myself. And sometimes I look at myself, I go back to when I was my younger Kay, and what can I say to her to encourage her to be the best Kay that she can be? And that's the same kind of encouragement that I need on the pickleball court when I am feeling the pressure of to lighten it up a little bit. I can take that pressure off. I can turn it on and I can turn it off, and I don't have control over what other people are thinking about me or what kind of a game they think that I have. And it's not really my business even to ask them, how do you think I did today? It's more of the question is, how did I think I did? So not worrying about what other things just in my life is always something that I'm working on.
Yes. And then the last point that I came up with is just know your why for playing. And I think if you know why you're out playing pickleball, I know for me, and I'm speaking for myself, it's good exercise. I absolutely love the strategy of the game. I think it's engaging and fun. This is why I'm addicted, is because even though I just learned the drip shot, I know there's like 5 other shots I need to learn. And even in learning the drip shot, there's so much strategy changes that are happening in my game because I've learned this one shot and then figuring that out and putting the puzzle together. That's why I play. And I play, because I like being with my friends, but I would say the social aspect is not the biggest aspect for me. The competitive aspect is the biggest aspect for me and figuring out the puzzle. But I know for one of my friends, social is number one for her. And when you know your why, it kind of can help you align with those people who also have the same whys, or knowing somebody else's why will help you kind of have different expectations of them. And so just sit back and know your why. And the other last point I would put on there is I think it all starts with gratitude. I write about this often. I talk about this often, but if I step out onto the court, and before I even step out onto the court, I just start with gratitude. Like, oh my gosh, it's such a beautiful day. I'm alive. I get to play pickleball. I get to play pickleball with these people who are awesome. And at first I want to see them as awesome, right? They're awesome. They're great. I love them. And, I get to talk a little smack today, like my whole day goes well. And then, the hands up and counting the wins and playing it just doesn't even happen because that's not why I was on the court. I was there because I was just grateful to be on the court. So I think we can start with gratitude.
Well said. I do love all of the people that I've met. I've been playing for 5 or 6 years, and every town that we go to, every place we travel, we bring our pickleball paddles. And I feel like I have friends all over the United States from just pickleball. So the social part has been really fun. I also was a competitive basketball player when I was younger, and to bring that spirit back out and to be competitive and to be practicing something new. And pickleball is so great because it doesn't matter about your age. You can be, I play with people who are in their 70s all the way and down to 15, 16s. So you can be of any age and you can jump on the court and you can be playing. So, but it is nice to pull that competitive spirit out and have fun with that part of my personality too.
Yeah, that's awesome. Well, let's just wrap it up. So
Okay.
here are my four ways, or our 4 ways that we just talked about. Is 1, comparison kills joy. So stop comparing your journey to someone else's journey. Number 2, let them. If they're playing and they didn't invite you, instead of being mad about it, let them have fun and enjoy it, and think of it differently. And then number 3 would be build a group that matches your whys. So I would say number 4 is know your why, but I would probably put that above 3 and say know your why, and then build your own road for your pickleball joy and fulfillment. And I think one thing I've learned as a business owner is you adapt and you adjust, and you do often. And I think we can even apply this to our pickleball game. Adapt and adjust often. And, just if something's not working for you, make the change and be okay with it, and be okay with maybe someone not even liking you making the change, right? And then I just think in the end, we're humans, right? And people hurt people. And so we just need to, I think, walk with a lot of forgiveness and a lot of grace, and as Dottie would say, not having expectations of a certain outcome, right? And letting go of some of that.
Sounds good. Thank you, Tracy. Thank you, Dottie.
Thanks, Dottie.
Okay. See you next time.
Okay. Bye.
Bye.
What was that one, neighbor?